Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday, May 29th Speaker Co-working Session, sponsored by Speaker Hub. My name is Angela Lewis, and I am the Head of Customer Success here at Speaker Hub, helping you all get booked on more stages and answering any questions that you may have. As always, we start with wins and dive into questions and lessons about the speaking industry and about Speaker Hub and our products. So let's start with wins. Any new wins? Any new podcast bookings? Any upcoming events? Any reflections on events that you all may have had? Michael, we've seen you atop the leaderboard recently in the past few weeks. So how are things going on your side?
We're keeping organized and dealing with a couple of things not related to Speaker Hub that have generated speaking opportunities, but keeping busy, needless to say, and we'll be back on the leaderboard again.
Yes. Oh, please share, even if it's not related to Speaker Hub. We still want to know what's going on and how things are going.
Well, finding speaking engagements, I haven't yet gotten any really good solid bites from all of the events that we sent out to on Speaker Hub, and I have to kind of figure out what we're not doing right, because it seems to me we've had enough that we should be seeing something positive. So I've got to think about that a little bit and do a little bit of exploring. Maybe you and I should talk about that later. But bottom line is that we're not yet seeing people who have expressed at least an interest in exploring speaking, and I would like to figure out what we need to do to address that.
Okay, we can definitely talk about that. We can
Yeah.
definitely talk about that more one-on-one. Happy to help.
But I do mailings from some other sources regularly, and a couple of those have actually requested more information and have said that unofficially they like what they see, but they have to check with their committees. But I suspect that we're going to hear some positive things here in the next few days that will really help. And it's filling up September, October, and November of this year. So, and also, I am finding that a lot of speaking event organizers are planning events earlier than usual. So I'm seeing a number of people who are now talking about 2026 and beyond. And that's different than it used to be. People didn't plan quite so far in advance as they are doing now.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Michael, that really when you're thinking about speaking gigs, we're looking to the fall and into next spring and even fall. So keep that in mind. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Curtis, Sayron, welcome. EJ, welcome back. We are sharing wins. So any wins, any more wins that anyone has?
Well, it's not a paid gig, but I'm doing the TLI, the keynote at District 8 TLI for Toastmasters Institute. So yeah, that's one.
Okay.
So
congrats. Now, we believe that you get paid before, during, and after. So you may not be getting paid for the speech, but there are ways to get paid. Willie, do you have books that you can sell at the event or any other products?
I do. I have the book. It's an anthology. I'm working on my other one that I'm working on alone, but I have the anthology of notes from Dad. So it's like 34 of us authors in that book. But I sold some at the last conference, and so we'll see how it works this time.
Okay, great. We're sure you're going to sell more.
Okay.
Because you'll have them with you, and you're going to do the keynote, so people are going to want to buy from you.
Yeah.
When is that event, Willie?
28th of June.
Okay. So just in about a month.
Right. It's in a month.
Perfect. Nicole, welcome. We are sharing wins.
I gave a speech. Well, not a speech. I did a presentation on LinkedIn for somebody else's platform on Tuesday. And I did it from my grandson's therapist office because my time ran out and I was like, I got to get online. I don't want to be late. And so she allowed me to use one of her rooms and overheard my presentation. I come back downstairs and she's like, you have 3 new clients. I didn't know that you knew all of that or that you did that. So I got, even though that she wasn't my
Easy.
audience, you know, I got some traction from that. So I thought that was funny. That's a small win.
A small win, that's huge. You got 3 clients. That's huge,
Well,
Nicole. We're not going to downplay it.
they're not clients until the
It's
check is
fine.
written and cashed.
Touche.
But
You have
yeah,
3 new leads.
I
You
do.
have 3.
Yeah.
We count leads as wins because you're going to close the deal, of course.
Yep.
I think you bring up something really important, Nicole, and I struggle with this as well, is actually letting all the people who we're connected to actually know what we do and what we're capable of. A lot of times we think, oh, that's not our target audience. So why am I even talking about the book that I wrote or the program that I run? They don't need to know that. But you'd be surprised who's connected to who and how, if we just share more about who we are and what we do, the opportunities that will come up for us. So
I think the hard
congrats.
thing is trying to figure out how not to be, you know, how not to toot your own horn, but let your name be spoken in rooms without you. I think that's more of the struggle and trying to get people trying to tell them what you do, what your new, you know, your new products or your new speech may be without sounding
Mhm.
like you're hogging up all the air or bragging.
Let's talk about that. I think that is worth discussing is how do you promote who you are, what you're doing in a way that doesn't feel like you're tooting your own horn, but we actually have products and services that people can use and need. Um, how do you do it? How do you all share who you are? We know we have podcasts, obviously, by using our tools and reaching out to podcasts. It's a way to share, and then you can share that on social. But in day-to-day conversations, or how do you approach sharing who you are and what you do?
I used to, and sometimes I recommend to my clients to just send out an email to everybody that you know, your dentist,
Mhm.
your, you know, neighbor down the street, or text messages and just, you know, hey, yeah, I don't know who you know that this may help, but I, you know, this is what I have. Um, Sometimes, depending on how that's done, it's received well.
Yes. Welcome, Lawrence. We have a few more people popped in. Carses, Lawrence, Bonnie. Y'all are just hopping in. We're just getting started. It's me and you all today. Any wins? Hi, Valencia.
Hey, hey,
You
hey,
have some.
I got a win.
Okay.
I just finished I guess it was called a run of show for
Mm-hmm.
a company that I am going to be speaking to their employees about stress management. And so that was great. It went well.
Wonderful. Congrats. Now, we know you're in Rwanda, right? Or are you in Kenya?
Yes.
You're still in Rwanda. Is this
Mhm.
virtual? Is this a virtual event?
It is a virtual event. Yes, it is.
And
Mm-hmm.
when is the event?
It's gonna be in about 2 weeks. They're going to they've got to go through a lot of little hoops and things internally, but about 2 weeks from now, they're gonna get back to me with a real date, a concrete date.
Okay. Well,
Yep. Thanks,
congrats.
Kevin.
Congrats on that. Very,
Yeah.
very exciting.
Yeah, I just feel good anytime I'm able to talk to anybody about what it is that I'm truly passionate about. I mean, I count it a
Hmm.
win, so you know,
Yes.
going in the right direction. So.
Are they going to let you sell at I know it's virtual, but can you sell courses, books, plug any of your
Yes.
products?
Yeah, and so that's what I was thinking. I also have a brand new challenge, ease over exhaustion challenge that I put together, and it's a 5-day challenge. So that is also something that I'm going to get to promote at the end, but just in general, I'm going to promote it. And I was just thinking about, oh, I should probably add a planner to it and just add some other
Yeah.
things to it, you know, and I have a community already set up. So, you know, just trying to think of other things that I can add to it to make it more valuable.
Hmm. No,
So,
that's really amazing. And you can create products out of this idea. So you have an idea for something. I have this event coming up. The very first workbook that I created was I was talking to there was this school it was a university that had a summer program with kids from different schools. They asked me to speak, and then I had my first book, and they said, well, is there a workbook? And I was like, yeah, there's a workbook. And then I just went and created one. And so then I had a book and a workbook, but it came out of just them asking about another product. So sometimes we can overthink creating new products when, in fact, especially with ChatGPT and other services and other
Right.
resources, we can create them quickly. So yeah, I think that's
Right.
awesome that you'll be able to create new things.
Yeah, I love it.
Angela, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. You're
Uh,
good.
okay, Angela, I believe that relates to that question that you asked earlier about how to have a conversation without it sounding like you're tooting your own horn, like I do this and I can do that and I can do. I believe the correct way to handle that would be to focus on the audience or the community that you are trying to help and or what passion you have, because that way it's not about you, it's about your passion and it's about the audience you're trying to help, instead of you
Yeah.
saying, well, you know, I can do this and yes, and I speak on that and I can do, you don't,
Yeah.
nobody wants to sound like that. That turns people off. So that was a valid point that you brought that question up. And that I believe is the way to do it. Talk about your passion and the people that you're going to be talking to.
Yes. Thank you for that, Kevin. Yes. For those who just hopped on, we were talking about how do you promote who you are and what you do in conversation with others in a way that doesn't see or seem or feel like it's being braggadocious. Like, how do you know when it's relevant to talk about who you are and what you do? Nicole gave a great example about how she was at her grandson's therapist's office and she had to do an interview. And they heard her and they were like, oh, we have some interest in what you're doing. But she would have never thought to share that with them. So any other ideas on that? Valencia, I want to circle back to you 1 second. You have a community. So I think having a community is an easy way to bring people in. This is our community that we have every single day. So you can bring people in and we're not selling anything, but when you get here, you learn more about who we are and what we do. So communities are another way. Greg, we know you've been speaking for a while. How have you shared who you are and what you do?
Well, that's a very interesting question. And as I came on and listening to some of the comments that are being made, I think your passion shows in your conversation. I tend to do an upfront promo. I have a introduction promo that talks about me, because I think it may have been Kevin or someone said nobody really wants to hear you brag about yourself. But in that intro video, it toots my own horn. You know, Mama says it's a sorry dog that won't wag its own tail. Well, you find somebody else to wag the tail, and it removes you from being braggadocious, um, stuck on yourself, because we all have heard speakers that they do nothing but talk about themselves. Well, I this and I that, and you lose the audience right away, and you have to fight too hard to get them back. But if somebody else, even in that promo video, you have some testimonials about what you did for that previous conference or keynote, that bodes. It doesn't get any better than that.
100%. So putting the promo videos together and having that accessible to share, to share with people that you're talking to about who you are and what you do.
Well, yeah, and I do it up front. And so it sets the stage. So I can take all of that out of my keynote. So I can focus on them, what I'm trying to provide, the solution that I'm trying to provide for them, versus, taking 15 minutes and tooting my own horn.
Thanks, Greg. Yes, so having those sizzle reels and those videos are very helpful. Valencia.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask a question. I was trying to type it in here, but so could that be something that I could use for like a virtual workshop and put that, it's kind of like as an introduction um before I go on. Is that something I could use to kind of briefly tell about who I am, what I do, any type of accolades? And how long would you suggest something like that be?
No more than 3.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I found that works for me.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that so
Great
much.
question. Yeah, really, really good question. Anyone else have strategies or ways that you engage new people and share? We've talked
Yeah,
about who is that, Curtis?
yeah.
Okay.
Like it's a little bit different for me, because like I meet people a lot of different places or whatever. So it's kind of like how we have the conversations, like understanding my audience of like where can I, is it real estate, is it leadership, is it kind of what are the lanes that I play in that I have expertise, and hearing those pain points early on, and then keying on those pain points. Like, oh, I heard you were having problems with this employee or something like that. And I'm saying, okay, like what are the pain points or what are the relationships that you're frustrated with there, to kind of like go back and understand those instances that we can say like, hey, I taught a class about this and that. So going back to that, and then we swing it back, oh, more what do you do? Well, I kind of like train people on this. So and then I kind of like give them a free kind of training, just a little
Mhm.
expertise of what I have. So like
Mm.
it's just different. Like instead of a highlight reel, you kind of show them in real time. Like um, there's a guy in real estate that I like teaches me more in real estate, and what he says all the time is like, get your calculator, I'll show you the numbers, and then we start doing numbers right then. It's like real time work. So it's kind of like what things can I take away from you in this short instance that I have with you right now. So
Oh, thank you, Curtis. So it's what do you have to give? So everyone, it's when you meet people, what can you give immediately to let them know that you are who you say that you are? So whether it's the video, and then also what do you have to share that's going to help them or someone they know who's in your target get closer to their goals based on your expertise? So what can you give that demonstrates who you are? And then what do you have that you can share as a lead magnet to let them know that you have the expertise? Valencia,
Okay,
hand is
I'm
up
not
again.
trying to bombard with questions and stuff, but
It's okay. This is great
hey,
conversation. That's why
I'm
we're
I'm
here.
just I'm in a great element right now, so my brain is working well. So, okay. So this is really maybe for someone that has experience in talking with companies a lot and dealing with companies, and I'm thinking more so workshops, virtual workshops. And is it okay to have, and I understand what Cardis just said, but like for me, I'm stress management, right? So is it okay, or do you suggest having like the workshop I'm about to do for this company? I can do it for any company, right?
Hmm.
So I want to be able to pitch that and I'll have that already done and made up. Maybe I have to do some tweaking here and there, but is that normally how it works? Or does it work more so, basically you're always going to be customizing that message to suit what that company wants?
Really great question. Does someone else want to chime in before I give my thoughts? So the question is, do you always have to customize your message or can you use the same framework for different companies?
so I like I've only spoken at two major companies. So like and I wasn't doing it to get paid, but I would always do it like 80/20. Like you shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel for the good content that you already have, but you should personalize it to the people that you're speaking to. So every company is going to be a tad bit different, their culture. And like when you have those interviews with the company or whatever, I would kind of see those pain points that they really want to hone in on. And like because it's not the people that you're speaking to, it's the people that are paying you. So like, what are the people that are paying you want you to say, and to kind of like, you can keep your same like your principles and stuff like that, but like you got to know like what your audience needs to hear,
Mhm.
quasi who's paying you wants them to hear. So that's where your 20% comes in. So you already have all this content and you tailor it and you hone in on the pieces that they kind of say like, yeah, we're having a problem with retention, or we're having a problem with stress management, or XYZ. So that's how I would do it.
I
Thanks,
would
Curtis.
I would agree with Curtis. Doing your pre-event questionnaire with the meeting planner or that person from that organization, whether it's the CEO, I tend to interview them and ask, as Curtis mentioned, what are your pain points? What keeps you up at night? What could make this a better organization? So I have maybe 10 question 10 question docket, and then I would capture what they're saying during that same time. My
This,
basic
oh, no, Greg, you can go ahead.
my basic keynote is the same. The principles, the illustrations, the photos that I use, it's still the same. But I invoke in a certain section, I make sure that I regurgitate what that CEO has mentioned to me about one of those pain points. Because somebody from the outside can say it better than an internal president, CEO, or vice president. They can be saying the same thing that they've heard for months and months and months, but it comes from someone from the outside, you as the expert, because you're coming in to solve their problem. And you, oh man, how did he know that? He really has done his homework and all of those things. So that tends to work for me.
Thanks. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for
Wow,
that.
that is great. Thank you so much.
Looks like Bonnie wants to add to that. Bonnie?
I have a tiny tidbit. So yeah, Cardis and Greg, certainly Greg, I don't have your experience, probably not even Cardis's yet, but drawing from my education background and working with students, something that helps people be comfortable with and trust me is to ask them, what's the best thing going in your company? What's the best thing in your organization? What's working right now? What feels good? Because people can start talking from that place, and what outcomes might you be seeking from here to improve things, rather than, like you say, I can do this and I can do that. I'm looking for the pain points, but I'm asking what outcomes they're seeking. So it doesn't feel like I've got a program in my pocket and I'm just going to sit it on your table and you're going to go with that. But for me, always starting, and even like working with kids around their work, always looking at what was going really well and never using the word but, however, or yet, always coming up with, and maybe you could try and, to reach for this. So using that piece in this world now is looking for what is working, so you can start with that. That works for me with people generally. Thanks.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks for that input. Kevin, I'm going to get to you, and then we're going to do something that I think will be super valuable. So we've talked about the questionnaire for potential customers, but we haven't talked a lot about, well, once we've closed the deal, like how do we prep and prepare for that speech? And so we're going to go and create a list of questions. I'm going to hop on ChatGPT in a second, a list of questions to ask before your event, Valencia. So this will help you prep. And for everyone who's watching, the things you should ask once the deal is sealed and you're ready to have that conversation. Greg, I'm sure it'll include some of the things you said, as well as Bonnie, as well as Curtis. So Kevin, we'll get your question, and then we'll go to our friend and see what list of questions we can come up with that everyone can utilize as they prep for upcoming events.
Yes, I just wanted to chime in. I've only spoken at a few mostly unpaid events for companies, but I have vast experience in speaking for Toastmasters. And one of the key things that people love is a story. So I believe it would be great because your story, that's what separates you from AI, from Chat GPT. That's what makes you human. That's what people are going to remember. So if you can come up with a story that addresses that pain point, or that gives the lesson that they need to know and that they need to hear, you should have, I think even Ron has talked about that, you should have 3 or 4 signature stories where you can just plug one of them in for this lesson that you need to teach, for this lesson about motivation, for this lesson about being
100%.
overstressed, because your story is going to be unique to you. And I guarantee you that's what the audience is going to remember.
Thank you for that, Kevin. Having a story attached to their pain point. Absolutely. So let me close some of these other things. You don't need my email open. All right. I am preparing for an upcoming live in-person speaking engagement. What are the questions I should ask the event organizer to ensure I am prepared to deliver an impactful message? Give me a list of questions. All right, let's see what we come up with. We know the time. Okay, event logistics. Although they seem obvious, it's worth reviewing. How much time will I have to talk? What time should I arrive? Is there any tech or rehearsal scheduled? Who will be introducing me? Do you need a bio or a script? Will there be a Q&A session? If so, for how long? That's a really good question. Sometimes there are Q&A, sometimes not so much. Audience insights. Who's the primary audience? Age, profession, and background. How many people are expected to attend? Willie, you have that event coming up. I think some of these would be helpful for you to see how many books you need to bring. What does the audience already know about me, if anything? Are there specific challenges, pain points, or goals the audience is facing? That's what someone else mentioned. What tone or energy do you want me to bring? Inspirational, educational, interactive? The size will probably determine some of that as well. Event theme and goals. Curtis, you just put something in the chat about the theme. So what is the theme or overall purpose of the event? What do you want the audience to take away from the session? Are there key messages or topics that you want highlighted or avoided? The avoiding question is one worth asking for sure. What's the technology? Will there be any screens or slides or videos? Can I play audio or video during my talk? Willie, that kind of speaks to Greg, your comment about playing a video. Is there any tech? Is there a tech contact I can reach beforehand? Great question. Is there someone who's going to help out at this event with all of these? Do these questions seem helpful as we're going through them? Yep. Okay. There are a lot. Let's keep going. Engagement and interaction. Is audience interaction occurred? Can I use polls, invite people on stage, etc.? Sometimes people can be engaged. Other times I just want you to give the keynote because it's before lunch at a major conference. Let's see, are there any cultural, organizational norms I should be aware of? Very, very good question. Promotional and media. Will my talk be recorded or live streamed? I made an assumption recently at this event, I'm kicking myself, that it would be recorded. And they took snippets and it wasn't recorded. So I don't have it. I know, I'm kicking myself. I was very underprepared, I'll admit. But not next time. It only takes one time for you to forget all the things. So I should have asked these questions ahead of time. Will there be photos or media coverage at the event? I'll admit, I relied on their photographer to take pictures, but they didn't get the pictures that I really wanted. So next time I'm gonna have somebody. Can I promote the event on social media? Do you have a hashtag or graphics? I know someone who does corporate consulting and they do not allow for them to take pictures or post anything because of the type of consulting he does. They don't want the world to know that they actually hired him to do it, but he needs more work. So if you run into that situation, you can do before photos and after, or do recaps and keep it pretty general, but there are ways to still get that content. Oh, and follow up, of course. Can I offer a free book or opt in at the end of my talk? Will I have a table or space to connect? And are there other speakers I should be aware of or a schedule that I can review? What do y'all think about these questions? Is there anything missing or any of them stand out to you?
The only thing that I would change is on some of them, you can make it seem as if there is a benefit to them. So instead of
Okay.
asking, will there be Q&A, assume that there's not, and offer, if it's helpful, I can do a Q&A at the end, or if it's helpful, I can stay for a meet and greet, to make it seem like it's a benefit or a bonus for them, because it's also a bonus for you.
That's a really good point. So there are some things here. So instead of looking at them like, this is what we should be asking, say, this is what we should be offering. Let me offer these things because these are all possibilities to get paid before, during, and after. Because ultimately the goal is to build your business.
Yeah, I
As
think
someone who
Oh.
likes speaking with their hands, I would also ask the technical question: will there be a countryman mic available? One that, countryman is the mic that, like, some people call it the Britney Spears mic. I don't know why, but it's a mic that goes around, attaches around your head, because I like using my hands when I speak. So if not, and then you might want to ask, will you provide one, or should I bring my own? And then you have to know if it's compatible. And I always bring my own, but you never know. If not, then you just might have to use a handheld. But that's a good technical question to ask.
Thanks
in
for that, Kevin.
advance.
Yep, highly recommend bringing your own tech if possible. I want to shift the question now to virtual events, right? So there are some questions that we ask for in person, but specifically for you, Valencia, because you're prepping for virtual, and so many of us are doing virtual nowadays. Let's see, what are the things we should ask ahead of a virtual event, and see what ideas come about. Okay, some of them will, of course, be the same, but I think there'll be some different ones. If this is a virtual, whoa, I don't know what that is that popped up. I just started. Who even knew ChatGPT? You could draw things. What's happening? Okay, what is that? Why?
Another new feature.
Exactly. They just
Like it just
see
pop
that
up. It just pops up.
it just. Okay. Okay,
Hey,
I think we're
Angela,
good now. Okay.
while you're
Yes.
doing
Yes,
that,
great.
one other thing that I really like to find out, who's doing the introduction. Because it could be a CEO and he or she could be boring as all get out, and they suck all of the energy out of the room. So I let them do their intro, but my intro video does my introduction, because at the tail end of it, I have an upbeat. I get them out of their seats, I get them moving, I get them clapping. So I'm in control now. Okay, sit down. No, I don't. People are still clapping. Okay, everybody get back up. So you kind of play with that, you use that. um, that has worked for me, because the worst thing you can do is let whoever's introducing you suck all of the energy out of the room, and it takes you another 5 to 10 minutes to try and gain it back. The other thing I do, I ask for who are some of your former speakers, that you've used in the past. Obviously, and I think, subjects to be avoided. I think that was one of the questions on there. I also ask if this is a voluntary or mandatory meeting. Are there any
Makes a
key
difference.
executives that will be in the audience that you're expecting? Always do a mic check the morning before, the night before, the morning of, an hour prior to. That's where, Kevin, you talked about, making sure that you got the right mic that works for you. Always ask if it's going to be recorded, if it's going to be one camera or two cameras. That way you can bring your own, you can hire somebody in that particular city or area, another videographer. Our spouses invited to this. What's the age gap? What's the age range? Number expected. How many do you expect here? And I think AI hit the majority of those. Yeah.
Greg, it looked like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were reading off a list, like your actual questionnaire. You
Oh,
have
I've
a
got a
document.
question. Yes,
Mhm.
I've got a document. I've got a, when we do our follow-up call, I'm sitting down and I'm going down my list. You know, who's the
I love
contact
it.
person? What's, you know, and my executive assistant is there as well to make sure that if anything that I miss, we talk about budget, um, all of those things on that first phone call. Is there a conference theme?
Mhm.
Is there a particular color that you guys are wearing? Is,
Great question.
you know, all of those, you know, specific titles, and I tie the title of their conference into my presentation. So that's a part of my slides as well. I don't use a whole lot of slides with verbiage.
Mhm.
I'm a storyteller, so I will use a picture, and off of that picture, I will tell the story that ties in with whatever the message is. Um, I love doing Q&A. Most of the associations and corporations love that last 10-minute Q&A because it's an opportunity that you may not get any other time with the speaker. And during that time, right after Q&A, hey, I need a favor. And then I put my Talkadot QR code on the screen. Hey, I need your feedback. I'm a lifelong learner, just like you. So give me
Mhm.
some help. Take a minute and answer one or two of these questions. And you know, you already got that. You know how Talkadot formulates those
Mhm.
responses. So I try to cover um, everything that I may need on that first call, but the Q&A on the back end of the presentation tends to work for me.
Yep. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Everyone is really impressed by by your document. The chat is blowing up. People want the document. They're asking, is it digital? So totally up to you to share. But they are asking. I think y'all may want to reach out to Greg directly or figure out how, how to handle that. But people are asking. Bonnie, we'll go with Bonnie and say, Ron, you have your hands up. Bonnie, you're still on mute. I don't know if you're talking right now or not.
Of course, I'm over here talking to myself. Sorry. Greg, thank you, thank you, thank you. At the very beginning of what you were just saying, you were talking about the potential of the C-suite or other taking the air out of the situation and using video. I just didn't quite catch the timing of the video. Like they introduce you and then you put the video before you speak. Is that how you?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's cool. And it's fun, upbeat, interesting.
yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
everything that I need to be said about me. You know, awards where I've spoken, all of those things. I put that in the intro video, and you can update it. I'm, you know, updating it. As a matter of fact, I spoke with the person that's redoing it. I wanted to add a few more awards and a few more pics from a previous keynote, updating fresh photographs in it. So you can tweak it, but the basic body stays the same. And I put my email in the chat. If you, you know, if you want a copy of that, I can definitely provide it for you.
We would be very grateful.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
that. And then Valencia wants to see your video. Can you show it?
Me too, me too.
Well,
Oh heck! I
Come
told
on.
y'all
we're
that
gonna go to.
I am. Go to something else. I
Okay,
can
we're gonna
be
say Ron.
technically challenged, and let me see if I can pull that up. And
Okay, Ron had her
Thank
hand up. We're
you.
gonna say Ron to see if you can pull up your intro video.
okay,
And
Thank
yeah, we believe in you, Greg.
all right.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate that. We
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 do, we
appreciate it
do.
so much, like for real. Thank you.
There's so I want to say this before say Ron, before I get to say Ron, there's just so much knowledge and talent and expertise in these calls every day. So we love sharing the great work that we're doing and offering advice, but please reach out to each other. There's so much talent here. So don't think this is only a sit and get. We want you to give and share and learn from each other and connect. Say Ron, what questions did you have?
Okay, I'm just adding about what you asked about ideas about the virtual.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, I never asked.
no, you said if you are on stage talking, what are you giving away? But if you are in a virtual, it's different giving away, right? Because you don't have that. Did you just ask that, or I picked the question? You were
Yes,
talking about.
that was a part of what I asked. I was just about to go to ChatGPT and prompt it for what questions do you ask for virtual events in the same way that we prompted it. We prompted it for questions to ask prior to a live event.
Yes, I saw the live event and I know you are going to do the virtual. What I found out about the virtual, it's not a tricky, you just have to be a little bit more creative and using your innovation mind to come up with swag, giveaway, raffles, and I'll put in the chat. I think I use this a lot, and it's called Wheel of Names. So if you have like 20 people or 30 people, the event planner, on the virtual event planner will put the names, and they will spin the wheel, and the one who who pick up the names, you can give away 15 or 20 minutes your complimentary. And that's being said, I used it last month at George Washington University. I spoke at my school. Everyone in the room were technical, technical. So my giveaway per survey with the event planner, they all want to speak with me for 30 minutes. So no one want a book or a small gift. But that was not the case when I spoke at Illinois' virtual event. The guest speaker was Jack Canfield. So what I give away, it was his book, The Success Principle. So what I'm trying to say here, when you do virtual event, it's so important. You have the percentage of who's attending. Are they just merely business owner? They are coaches, they are tech. When they become tech, it's a little bit challenging because I'm from tech world. We don't get very excited about certain things. There's other things make us excited.
Very true.
So just by knowing your audience and get feel of percentage who's attending, your giveaway or raffle gift will be different at the end. So that's all what I need to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Sayron. This wheel of names is very cool. It is definitely something, Valencia, that you can utilize your upcoming event. You have a question,
Yeah.
Valencia, or
Yeah,
comment?
so say Ron, I think I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. So with
Yep.
the wheel of names, is that part of promoting the event itself, or is it just something fun that you do to get engagement during your workshop or during your talk?
Yes, it's
How?
both. Actually, it's both because the event planner, when Francisca got back to me, she said everyone who attend the university webinar you did, they are sharing their LinkedIn and email address. So that's expand your reach, right? So they start sending me LinkedIn. Oh, we enjoy your webinar. We are graduate like 5 years ago. What do you think the difference between vision and strategy? So it's a quick question. They reach out to you, might not lead to 1 month paid like coaching, but still you build the rapport, you build that relationship with the people who attend your webinar. And on top of that, you add the fun and you give away your complimentary or book, whatever you decided to do. The event planner see the engagement. She already got back to me. She said, are you ready for the next? We need another webinar with you. So it's
That's
always
awesome.
engagement. They ask about you again because they see the percentage of the engagement you have done on the first one.
Great.
Congrats.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great question. Great question.
there's there's
Go
also
ahead,
other like
Carlos.
kind of things that you can use to kind of like get QR or use kind of like speaker QR in like multiple ways. So like Slido, I know for example, you got to type in your name, you got to type in your email address or whatever, and then so you have a contact, you have a lead list. You're building a lead list during the presentation, and then you have another because a lot of people don't do surveys, so you have something in there that you're kind of like bargaining to get them to give up their information, like during the presentation, like, hey, fill out this information so you could be in the running for this drawing. Then like at the end, you give something else like, hey, I have this free workbook or whatever that you could use if you do a review or whatever. So you have testimonial reviews, and then you have a lead email list too. So you can combine those together, see who did one and who didn't do the other, and then you have as many names as you could get. So
I think what
That's
we
good.
landed on is there are so many ways to engage. We just have to be intentional. So for Greg, it's at the beginning, he makes sure that he controls the energy, which is incredible advice. Make sure you decide the type of energy you want them to have, and then you set the tone in the very beginning for that energy. Say Ron mentioned having a game with an opportunity for people to win a prize. So I put all y'all's names in here while y'all were talking, so we can see who's going to win something special. I have to decide what the winning is, but
I think the winning, if we can get to talk for 10
Michelle,
minutes, Angela, that's a big gift. If the prize is talking with you for 10 minutes, that's a big prize.
well, y'all saw the winner is Michelle. Congratulations, Michelle. You win the Speaker Hub of the Day prize. We'll come up with something better later, but I think we should implement that in calls. So thank you for sharing that, Ron. Congrats,
Yeah.
Michelle.
I will add,
More to come on that.
I will add one thing, Angela, that I did at the team one here in Northern Virginia. I did the vision board, which I don't call it vision board. I call it action board, because if you don't action on the board, that's don't even do the vision board.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what I did on the workshop, I bought some, it's like a, not a flashcard, it's like a trophy print out, and I give it away, and I said, put in one side of the trophy, what is one obstacle on the way, and on the other side, imagine that you won the trophy. What is in your control to get rid of that one obstacle? So I get move and push every single woman in the room to talk, because there was a lot of women just, trying to be quiet and stay in the corner. Well, guess what? I make all of them speak up, because each one of those women had a card in her hand. And I was going around the room. I said, what did you put in the card? No judgment here. What do you want? And if anybody in the room have any suggestions. So, and you said, Angela, you have to be kind of like intention and just
100%.
read the room very carefully, see who's your audience, and you come up with new ideas, fresh ideas. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Being creative and knowing your audience is really important. Let's shift a little back to our event prep questions for virtual events, since Valencia has something coming up, and a lot of people are doing online events. So let's see, if this is a virtual event, what should I ask the event organizer ahead of the event? Well, really, we're gonna draw again. Okay. To make sure I am prepared to deliver an impactful message. Am prepared to deliver in DELIVER and impactful message. All right. Let's see. I'm sure some of what you all mentioned will show up, and then there will be other things that we hadn't thought of. So the beginning is pretty standard. The purpose, how many attendees, what do you want the audience to take away from my session? Again, are there any topics to highlight or avoid? Tech or platform, this is really important, of course. Webinar Jam, Teams, Zoom, StreamYard, is it alive? Will there be a co-host or screen sharing capabilities? Great question. Is the event being recorded or streamed? Will there be a tech check or a rehearsal ahead? Of course, highly recommended. Who is the tech point person if issues arise? I want to go back to one thing about it being recorded or streamed. Even if they don't record it or stream it, ask or record it or stream it yourself. That's key. This is something that I need to get better at for sure. In presentation format, how much time will there be? Will there be a Q&A session? If so, how will it be managed? So will they type the Q&A in the chat, or will there be an actual Q&A live where you're answering real time? Should I use slides or visuals? Oh, the resolution is important. The last thing you want is to have poor resolution. Are you expecting a more interactive session, polls, breakouts, chat engagement? Again, engagement online. In person, it's a little easier to manage engagement. Online, you don't always know. People don't have their videos on. You don't always know. So can I interact during the chat? Can I interact with the chat during my talk? Are polls or interactive elements like allowed or encouraged? Will there be moderators to help field questions? Great question. A few more. Can I promote the event? That's pretty standard. Am I allowed to give a freebie or opt-in? Pretty standard. Will I have access to the recording or attendee list afterwards? Great question. If you can get those leads of the people who attended, then you can follow up with them. And then the final one's about logistics. Is there a full run of show like Valencia went through today? Who will introduce me? As Greg mentioned, what time should I log on the day of the event? What about background do you recommend? Is there anything else that will make it a success? What do y'all think about that list for virtual? And was there anything missing or anything that really stood out to you? EJ, you've been here quietly observing. Is there anything about that stood out to you? Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're on mute. We can't hear you, EJ. You're on mute.
Yeah, I am entry level, coming back after a long hiatus of not being on a stage doing presentations and all. So I'm just here to listen and learn. And trust me, in the interim, I will be giving.
Okay. Well, we're happy you're here. You're always welcome. Say, Ryan, your hand is up, and then Greg, you're back. We're excited to see your video if possible. Say, Ryan.
I got disconnected like for a second. I don't know if you read that item. Normally at the virtual event, if you're presenting at the virtual event, it's always at the end is a good idea. Again, knowing your audience, putting on the chat or just say it yourself, saying, what is the next topic that you really want me to talk about next time?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay, Greg, do you have your video for us?
My computer is acting a pure dang fool.
Okay.
I tried to email it to you. Check your email real quick, Angela.
Let's see.
And that's the other piece. When you are doing a virtual, make sure that your technology and equipment is up to par.
Yes. Close everything in the background. I have it. It's 1 minute and 49 seconds.
Yeah.
And all right, in the final few minutes, let's look at Greg's video. You have to let me know if you can hear it. Do you hear it?
No.
Okay, hold on. Oh, Lord. I didn't prepare for this. No, let's see. Audio settings. Windows automatically share. You know what? This is actually my first time. I think you have to share audio formatting like that. Greg, we may play sound and this is great. I get to learn something new because I've actually never shared a video with audio. So, Greg, you may be sharing your videos tomorrow. Give me a second. Does anyone know how to share video with audio?
Angela, did you, inside the share, do you see where it's a box that says turn on the audio and the speaker?
That's what I was going to say. In the lower corner, there's usually a little audio button or, microphone.
But also inside the share, there's a box that you check that says share audio. It's underneath those pictures.
Their sound. Yes. Thank you. Thank y'all so much for helping me. I appreciate it. Okay. Just learned something new today. Okay, let's go back to Greg's video. Let's start this over. Then everyone will be able to hear it. Okay, y'all ready? That was way easier than I thought. Look, I almost gave up way too soon. Okay, hold on, y'all. I have some security on my computer. Okay, we're ready now.
Greg Coleman, a native of Jacksonville, Florida, attended Raines High School and a graduate of Florida A&M University. Recently retired following a 25-year career as a C-level executive for a Fortune 500 international communications company. He has served on a number of advisory boards and also had the distinction of speaking at the White House on 21st century policing. Greg spent 12 years as a punter in the NFL and earned the name Coffin Corner Coleman for his ability to kick the ball to the corners, pinning the opponent deep near their own goal line, and has the distinction of being the first African-American punter in the NFL. For the last 22 years, he served as the sideline analyst for the Minnesota Vikings radio network. He is a member of the Vikings' 25th and 40th anniversary team, the Florida A&M Football Hall of Fame, the State of Florida Track and Field Hall of Fame, the Bob Hayes Track and Field Hall of Fame, and named to the all-time Black college football team. He is also an ordained minister. More recently, Greg was inducted into the 2021 class of the Black College Football Hall of Fame. He is a professional speaker who inspires leaders and organizations to flip the field and get a leg up on life. With his passion for people and experience of corporate, community, athletics, and ministry, he is one of the most requested speakers each year. Please put your hands together for our keynote speaker, Hall of Famer Greg Coleman.
Awesome video, Greg. Absolutely love it. And I like how it claps at the end. So they're going to hear claps. Like they don't have to clap. They're going to be some clap.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and they tend to join in anyway, you know.
Exactly.
People are creatures of habit. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for sharing. So there's a great way to have an intro video where you can have, regardless of who's introducing you, you're prepared to have a great introduction, which sets the tone for the rest of your speech, online and in person. So that is definitely worth doing. Definitely worth doing. We are at the top of the hour. Is there anything else? I think today we had a really good conversation about how do you prepare for speeches? What questions do we ask event organizers, whether it's virtual or online? Greg, thank you so much for sharing so openly about the questions you asked. You all can go to ChatGPT and ask additional questions in addition to what you already have been asking, but you want to be thorough to make sure that you're having an impact. Any other questions or comments before we go? Today's been amazing. Look forward to seeing y'all again tomorrow. No questions. Well, call to action for today is put the questions together to ask ahead of the event. If you haven't already, put those questions together because your opportunities are coming and you just want to be ready. You want to be ready when it's time. All right. Thank you all so much and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, Leroy popped in. Hi, Leroy. Thanks for popping in.
Thank you.
From London.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll be here tomorrow. You're always welcome anytime. Bye, everyone.
Well, blessed day, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey,
Great
Angela.
session.
Thanks. Oh, Curtis, did you ask me a question?
Yes, I have one quick question.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.